Hello everyone, this is Azzure from Diablo3markets.com, and I'll be showcasing a video today regarding latency and the changes to latency in Diablo 3, which is different to pretty much every other game that has come out. Basically, the latency in Diablo 3 when doing combat actions is instant, no matter what your latency is, within reason of course. You know, if you're running around with 3000 ms, there's not much anyone can do for you, but basically Australian and New Zealand players get around 200 latency, which is quite a lot, especially for a fast-paced game like Diablo. Now, there has been speculation that Blizzard has changed the way, or revolutionized the way client-server infrastructure works. Instead of the client having to wait for the server to approve every single action, the client can actually go ahead and just do the calculations instantly and then send the results to the server, in which the server checks them. But the interesting thing is the server doesn't actually have to respond. The client doesn't have to wait for a response from the server. Basically, if there is a problem with the calculations, such as someone trying to hack the numbers or do something funny with the client, the server will disconnect the client, and thus doesn't really need to sit there and approve every little action. So the synchronization between the server and the client don't have to be within sync with each other the entire time, which is what causes latency, because your client's basically waiting for the server to dictate what the results of your actions are. So no matter, despite how they do it, let's have a look at it in action. So as you can see, I've got 232 ms latency, which is basically about a quarter of a second of latency, which any Australian, New Zealand player can testify it's actually very, very noticeable for all types of games. You wouldn't try and play an FPS with that much latency. So let's have a look. As you can see, the actions there were instantaneous. There was no animation, then delay, and then damage. It was completely one smooth motion, which anyone who lives in Australia can easily recognise the difference between that and our usual latencies. I'll demonstrate this using another ability which will reflect this better. So, not that one. So if I use this ability here, as you can see, that's an instant attack that virtually kills everything in around you. And typically with a quarter of a second latency, you would have noticed that would have played the animation, and then a fraction of a second later it would have killed everything. But in this case, it just instantly killed everything without any kind of delay. Now, there are exceptions. Picking up items still incurs the latency, which is fine because it's not really a time critical thing. Let's demonstrate this further by using Disintegrate. So as you can see, the action was instant. The monster died as soon as he ran out of, basically as soon as the beam brought him down. And it's quite obvious that there's no latency there. Typically you'd see much higher latency, which I may demonstrate by loading up Diablo 2 and showing you what true latency looks like with the same latency here. So we will do that comparison in a moment. But yeah, just to show you a few more examples of this instantaneous actions, which again is 233 latency. Perfect event for wave force.
Didn't see that, did you?
So it's far more enjoyable playing the game with no latency than if everything was delayed. The animations alone wouldn't be as fluid and things just wouldn't look right. So I'm very glad they made this change. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll demonstrate Diablo 2, which uses the old method of, the old traditional method of client-server relationships, where everything has to be approved by the server. Okay, let's have a look here. So we're just going to run outside. Might even put throw on, just to demonstrate this better.
I shall purge this land of the shadow.
So here's a monster. If you notice that very subtle difference. See how the javelin hits the monster and then he dies a short time later. I'm actually going to reduce sound a bit here. It's a bit loud, but I apologise. So, if you notice that delay, that one was a bit quicker, but still noticeable delay. Notice how I finish striking and then it does the damage. So as you can see, that's quite frustrating. So it's quite a small delay, but it still annoys players. So yeah, that's my video demonstrating the difference in latency between Diablo 3 and pretty much every other multiplayer game. Thanks for watching.